Chapter 91 Family Mission. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Although these small villages have a small population, when gathered together, the number of people is more than 10 times or even dozens of times that of the Qin family. Although the Qin family is now the only one in power, no one dares to resist. However, Qin Xingzhen feels that the family is located in a mass grave, so it should be carefully planned. This practice of exhausting the pond and losing the hearts of the people is not appropriate. Moreover, with the current strength of the family, it can completely rely on strength to attract some villagers who want to join the family, but before that, it is necessary to spread the reputation of the family. For this, Qin Xingzhen has already had a corresponding plan in mind. On the second day, many villagers gathered at the Qin family market, which seemed quite lively. Various hawking sounds also came one after another. Grain, the best grain, 1 caddy of meat for 3 caddies of rice. Fresh venison, for 5 pairs of straw shoes. Ironware, only for animal skins. On weekdays, there will definitely not be so many villagers exchanging here. However, winter has arrived, and the fields are all frozen and cannot be planted. As for hunting, it is even worse. Nowadays, even warriors will not easily set foot on the mass burial mountain, let alone ordinary people who only hunt ordinary beasts on weekdays. Often this time is also the busiest time for the market. Many villagers will choose to exchange what they don't use or have extra things on weekdays for what they need, so as to make this winter more comfortable. Unfortunately, this place can only exchange things, and many times, the villagers may not get what they need, but they have lived here for a long time and have long been accustomed to this. They don't think there is anything wrong, but they still feel regretful if they don't get it. But they don't have much time left to exchange. If they wait until a few days later, heavy snow falls and the road leading to the market from nearby villages is closed, then the market here will gradually close. Hey, isn't that Ihu? I heard that he recently became a servant of the Qin family and his life is getting better. That's right. Didn't Tian Meng also become a servant? Why haven't I seen him in the past few days? Ihu smiled as he listened to the crowd's discussion. No, now he is called Qin Ihu. And now he has indeed changed a lot compared to the 1 month ago. Even the clothes on his body are made of the best fur, and he doesn't have to worry about not having enough food. Behind him, there are 2 servants of a lower status than him, facing the envy of many villagers in the market. Ihu couldn't help but raise his head slightly, and a trace of family glory rose on his face. However, after thinking of the task handed down by the clan this time, Ihu's face became more serious. This is the first task issued by the clan after he became a slave. He must complete it well and strive to let the clan leader see it and remember it in his heart. Dear fellow villagers, I, Qin Ihu, now represent the Qin family to announce 2 things to you. The people who heard this also began to gather around, with curiosity on their faces. Although many villagers felt that being a house slave was not decent, Qin Ihu looked good in both his clothes and mental state, and lived a better life than them, which made them envious and wanted to hear what Qin Ihu wanted to say. Seeing that everyone was looking at him, Qin Ihu spoke. The first thing is that Qin Xingzhen, the patriarch of my Qin family, personally announced that from today on, the market will be open to everyone for free. This winter, the Qin family will no longer charge you a head fee. The villagers who heard this were all happy. Although the head fee was not much, it was a lot for them. If they could not pay it, it would definitely be great. This is a matter that really concerns the interests of everyone. The second thing is, considering the difficult living conditions of the villagers around the mass grave, my clan leader has decided to distribute 2 kilograms of rice to each person in each village. The villagers who heard this were all surprised, and it was hard to believe for a while, and there was no joy in the crowd. Ihu, is this true or false? You are not lying to us, are you? An old man with a slightly hunched figure asked half doubtfully. Uncle Chan, everything I said is true. If you don't believe it, you can ask the clan. The rice will be delivered in a few days. Qin Ihu vowed, but many villagers still looked skeptical. After all, the other 2 major families had never done this before. There were 1 or 2 times when the first payment was waived, but it was rare. Seeing that everyone still didn't believe it, Qin Ihu didn't explain much. After a few days, they would naturally believe it. Then Qin Ihu started chatting with many villagers, and told them the news of the Lu family's demise, and assured them that now that the Qin family is in charge of the mass grave mountain, life will definitely be better than before. The news of the mass grave mountain was closed, and the Lu family was destroyed only 2 days ago, but there were some rumors. Now that it was confirmed, the villagers present had different expressions. They didn't care about the fight between the families, they only cared about what impact this matter would have on the village and themselves. After completing the task assigned by the Patriarch, Chinihu took the 2 people behind him and rushed back to the clan. Brother Ihu, what do you think is the meaning of the family doing this? Why do you want to distribute rice to all the nearby villagers? That's right, there are so many villages, how much rice do you need? If it were given to my family, it would be enough for my family to eat for several years. Chinihu stopped and looked at the 2 people behind him with a serious expression. Don't talk nonsense. Have you forgotten the 3rd rule of the house slaves? As a house slave, you are not allowed to discuss the affairs of the clan. If you don't want to be a house slave, don't hurt me. Hearing this, the 2 people's faces changed. They have no skills and can only farm. If they can't be house slaves, they will starve to death this winter. After scolding the 2 people, Chinihu was also confused. He didn't quite understand why the clan did such a thankless thing, but he knew very well that he shouldn't ask too much about things he shouldn't ask, and shouldn't think too much about things he shouldn't think about. The family must have its meaning in doing this. What he should do now is to complete the order of the clan leader and strive to become a warrior with the help of the family. This is also the idea that suddenly popped up in his mind after he was selected to be the leader of the house slaves. Compared with other house slaves, he doesn't have much advantage, but his luck is pretty good, but luck can't continue. Only by working hard and continuing to move forward can you make your life better. He still needs to improve. Chief, it's just a few villagers, do we need to waste so much food? In the family hall, Chen Tianjing asked curiously, and Chen Tianlu and others beside him were also a little puzzled. Of course we need to. After the loss of the Li family and the Lu family, the family's territory has expanded a lot. With so much land, even if we don't grow blood rice, growing ordinary rice will require a lot of manpower. In the long run, how will the family develop? Next year, we can lease the land to the villagers and let them grow it on our behalf. With this relationship now, I think many people will be willing to give them more rice. Chapter 92 Going into the Mountains. You are listening at novelfull.audio. But in this case, wouldn't the clan lose a lot of food? Chen Xingzhen shook his head slightly. What supports a family is its warriors. No matter how much ordinary grain rice is, it is useless. Only blood rice is the most important resource for the family. But even the blood rice will be planted by domestic slaves next year, so that more tribesmen can have time to temper their bodies. Although the Lu family is gone now, there is no guarantee that another Lu family will appear in Mass Burial Mountain. Family, prepare for a rainy day. Below, several people also fell into deep thought after listening. Chen Xingzhen had already expected the reactions of several people. After living behind the Mass Burial Mountain for a long time, the eyes of the clansmen will only see the Mass Burial Mountain, just like him back then. Even the blood coagulation realm warriors in the family are like this, not to mention the rest of the family. If it were him before, he would probably be satisfied with this. However, under his father's prompting, he took a longer-term view. Therefore, he also wants to transmit this idea to every tribesman and change the ideas in the hearts of the tribesmen. The family has sacred trees and blood rice. The development of the family should not be limited to the Mass Burial Mountain, but should look further afield. But with the family's current strength, this is far from enough. In addition to his own side, his father's side also took corresponding actions. I think in the dream, there are probably many clan members who need to be influenced by the elders of the clan. In addition to the lack of manpower, Chen Xingzhen naturally had other ideas in mind. If we don't establish good relations with these villages, where will the marriage partners of the young people of the right age come from? The future domestic slaves will naturally have to be selected from these villagers. When the interests of the family are bound to the interests of the village, this will make the future path of the family smoother. Chen Xingzhen looked ahead, unable to see clearly what the future of his family would look like for a while, but he could see that the road ahead was getting brighter and brighter. At night, the moonlight is bright. The inconspicuous locust tree in the ancestral hall once again bloomed with light fluorescence on its branches and leaves. The family festival has not yet stopped, and Ji Yang's vitality will increase to a certain extent every day. In just 2 days, Ji Yang's vitality has once again exceeded 100 points. In addition, he absorbs the moonlight every night, so it won't take long to return to his previous state. Clan member Chen Qinghe has broken through to the middle stage of the body-quenching realm, and his deduction points +1. A new prompt appeared in front of Ji Yang, which surprised Ji Yang. He didn't expect that Chen Qinghe could break through the middle stage of the body-quenching realm so quickly. It was indeed beyond his expectation. Although the deduction points have not increased much, it means that the stagnant Chen family has continued to develop. In the past 2 days, Chen Xingzhen's plans have also been noticed by Ji Yang. Of course, most of the plans have Chen Changming's suggestions. Fortunately, there is this previous patriarch who has passed away. Otherwise, the development of the family may still have many shortcomings, but now, there is no need for Ji Yang to intervene. The key is that he doesn't know how to develop his family. Even if his consciousness is a little advanced, this world has the rules of this world, and his experience may not be suitable for today's Chen family. It is better to strengthen yourself and become a good family sacred tree. Under the moonlight, the yin energy is more intense than during the day, gathering under the attraction of Ji Yang's tree trunks. In addition to the gathering yin qi, there are also many souls who look confused. After seeing the living soul, Ji Yang remembered that there seemed to be some casualties in the clan this time, but he was immersed in absorbing the moonlight yesterday and forgot about it. Most of the living souls that were attracted were the living souls of the Lu family's deceased warriors. Ji Yang was unable to transform these living souls, and was not prepared to transform them. He directly used the power of consciousness to crush them, and then absorb them, turning them into nutrients for the cultivation of many souls under the shade of the tree. After all the living souls of the Lu family were dealt with, there were only 3 people left. These 3 people are the warriors who died in this family battle. No, not 3, but 2. As for one of them, the heart of his soul body is slightly weak. Obviously, this is the tribesman who was too excited and opened the 5th internal organs. Thinking that the family's number of warriors and living souls was small, Ji Yang had no choice but to transform. After using the soul-condensing magical power, 3 more fruits appeared on the branches and leaves of the locust tree. The fruit is not big and it still takes 7 days to grow. After doing all this, Ji Yang turned into a locust tree again and stood quietly in the ancestral hall. 3 days later, the clan had a harvest of blood rice. This time, the family planted a total of 4 acres of fertile land. On average, each mu of fertile land produced 700 kilograms of blood rice, and the rice yield rate was 70%. This means that 1 mu of fertile land can eventually produce about 500 kilograms of blood rice. 4 acres of land, about 2,000 pounds, but if the tributaries of the natural blood spring are planned next year, coupled with the newly obtained Lu Jiaoling field, the blood rice harvest will definitely increase exponentially. Although the quantity is still not too much, this blood rice can be planted 3 times a year, which can fully meet the needs of the warriors in the clan, and there is still a lot left over. All the clan members were excited when they learned about the blood rice harvest, especially when the tribesmen watched a lot of blood rice being packed into bags, and each bag filled the tribe's barn. The smiles on their faces came from the bottom of their hearts. Even though there are a lot of people in the clan, it still takes them 2 days to harvest the blood rice and produce the blood rice again. You want to go hunting in the mountains? In the family ancestral hall, Chen Xingzhen, who had finished worshipping the sacred tree, looked at Chen Qingyu, who had just said this, with a hint of surprise on his face. Well, I feel like the energy and blood in my body are stagnant recently and I can't go any further. I want to give it a try. After hearing what Chen Qingyu said, Chen Xingzhen did not rush to agree. With a trace of hesitation in his eyes. Nowadays, the weather is getting colder. Although the heavy snow has not yet closed the mountain, the weather in Mass Burial Mountain is unpredictable. It is very likely that it has happened in the past few days. It is too risky to go hunting in the mountains at this time. Moreover, Chen Qingyu is now the treasured seed in the family. Chen Xingzhen also places high hopes on him to be the first in the family to be promoted to the Xiantian realm warrior. In fact, not only Chen Xingzhen, but other clan members also feel the same way. It was precisely because of this that Qinxingjin hesitated. The most important thing is that when Qinxinyu goes hunting in the mountains, he will definitely not just be outside, but will probably go deep into the mass burial mountain, and then there is a risk of encountering the green wolf. Although Qinxinyu was able to defeat Lu Xinrong, a Xiantian realm warrior, last time, it was outside the ancestral hall with the blessing of the divine tree and countless green light spots. The Xiantian realm green wolf, a ferocious beast that lives in groups, is no weaker than Lu Xinrong alone in the mass burial mountain, and is even more dangerous. In this case, how can he rest assured? Moreover, Qinxinyu is planning to go into the mountains alone, so the risk is even greater, but looking at Qinxinyu's unwavering eyes, Qinxingjin understood, this kid, if he objects, he will probably choose to go into the mountains, and he can't stop him. Chapter 93 Run. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Under the shade of the trees, several invisible souls were also communicating. Tian Shan, this kid is a bit at your mercy. Hearing Chen Changming's words, Chen Tianshan showed a helpless smile. However, he did not speak out against it, but instead supported it. Breaking through the Xiantian realm is not that simple. The first is the need to achieve great success in the blood coagulation realm. Now Qinxinyu is very close to this step, but has not yet reached the state where qi and blood are like mercury. This time, I am afraid that I want to use the training in life and death battles to reach the level of blood coagulation. It's just that although this method is possible, it is too dangerous. As a father, although he was worried, he understood Qinxinyu's stubbornness better. This is stubbornness, and it is also an indispensable desire for martial artists to practice martial arts. How could he stop it? The most important thing is that he can't stop it now. Everything depends on the thoughts of the Patriarch Qinxingjin. Although he didn't know that Qin Changming and others were watching him, Qinxingjin was indeed very hesitant at this moment. He was really worried about Qinxinyu going into the mountains alone. Is there a way to stop it? Qinxingjin thought about it, and when he saw the sacred tree, he had an idea in his mind, and then he said, "Let's do this. You pray to the sacred tree. If the sacred tree responds, I will let you enter the mountain." Huh? What does it have to do with me? Ji Yang, who was silently observing this scene, was speechless, but he also saw what Qinxingjin was thinking. Innate level ferocious beasts were indeed dangerous. For the sake of love and peace, naturally Qinxinyu cannot be allowed to enter the mountain alone. Actually, Qinyu's entry into the mountain this time is not just for a breakthrough. There are not many ferocious beasts in the clan. I plan to hunt a few back and sacrifice them to the sacred tree. Before Qinxinyu finished speaking, a light suddenly lit up among the branches and leaves of the sacred tree, and a brand new and green locust leaf slowly fell down. Looking at Qinxinyu with a sincere expression, Ji Yang sighed in his heart. No matter how hard it is, it cannot be hard on the children. If you have a strong desire to practice martial arts, you should support it. Anyone who has a dream is great. Qinyu thanks the sacred tree. Qinxinyu, who took the locust leaf, saluted, and Qinxingjin, Chen Tianshan and others who were living souls on the side also bowed. Since the sacred tree supported, I have nothing to say. After paying homage, Qinxingjin said with a smile on his face, seemingly no longer hesitating just now. Qinxingjin's performance also stunned Ji Yang a little. Did this old boy have this idea from the beginning? She obviously wanted him to give her shelter, but she didn't say it outright. Ji Yang felt that he was at a disadvantage, but there was no big reaction in my heart. The family is no longer in crisis, and the Patriarch, who is under great pressure from the family, seems to have changed a little, but for the better. Although the sacred tree provides protection, you must remember not to find the innate green wolf. Qinyu must remember this. Qinxinyu left, not long after getting the locust leaves, but this did not have much impact on the family. After many clan members were freed from the work of harvesting blood rice, the family's main focus has been to deliver rice to villagers in nearby villages. Each household in each village receives 2 kilograms of rice. Although it is not much, it represents the kindness of the Qin family. And the workload is not simple. The villages around the mass burial mountain are scattered and far apart. Even if it is only 2 kilograms of rice, it can add up to a huge number. For this reason, the family has sent out all the clansmen who can mobilize, leaving only a small number of warriors in the clan. worried about encountering ferocious beasts along the way. They even divided themselves into groups of 2 to ensure the safety of the tribe, but as long as he doesn't die outside and returns to the family alive, it's not a big problem, and things went extremely smoothly. Many villagers who received the rice had a look of surprise. It wasn't until they saw the Chen family members walking away that they realized what they were doing and touched the 2 kilograms of rice in a somewhat unrealistic manner. A trace of gratitude appeared on her face. 2 kilograms of rice can give many poor villagers a glimmer of hope to survive this cold winter. Sending rice is not a thankless task. When sending rice, Chen Xingzhen had already asked each tribe to record the nearby villages and how many households there were in the village. This is to facilitate the control of all villages in Mass Burial Mountain. Secondly, most of the tribesmen sent by Chen Xingzhen were unmarried. He did not believe that among such a huge number, the tribesmen could not find a few partners they liked. As long as they fall in love with each other, it will be a good start. In the family, 2 figures were hiding behind a house, watching the surrounding situation carefully. At this time, Chen Qingmeng suddenly said, "Qinghe, do we really want to do this? What if the Patriarch and your mother find out?" Chen Qinghe was stunned after hearing this. Why did he feel that these words were familiar and somehow wrong? Oh, he remembered that his father was not in the clan recently and had gone out. What are you afraid of? The Patriarch is in the ancestral hall, and my mother is busy making clothes. I seem to have heard from the Patriarch that new clothes should be engraved with family totems. They can't be found. Just follow me. By the way, have you packed everything? Well, healing medicine, a kettle, and this. Chen Qing turned around and revealed the machete behind him. Although the blade was much worn and no longer sharp, it was still wrapped in several layers of thick cloth. That's good. I went to the sacred tree last night and secretly picked a locust leaf. It should be useful. Let's go. The 2 fully armed men looked around and soon reached the gate of the family. However, just as they were about to step out of the family gate, a figure suddenly appeared in front of them. The huge shadow directly enveloped them, and a hint of coldness penetrated their hearts. "Qinghe, where are you going?" The speaker was a woman in her 30s with beautiful features. She was in the middle stage of body tempering and had a burly figure. Her increasing age and the snowstorm in the burial mountain gave her a few inconspicuous wrinkles at the end of her eyes, but it still couldn't hide her beauty when she was young. Although the question seemed to be asked gently, there was a hint of frost in the woman's eyes. The 2 people who heard this familiar voice couldn't help but tighten their bodies. Chen Qinghe slowly raised his head, looked at the smiling woman in front of him, and said with a little stuttering, "Mom, we, the clan leader, let us deliver food." "Yes, deliver food." As if they had found a reason, both of them nodded quickly. "Oh. What about the food?" the woman asked with a smile. "Oh, I forgot, I'll get it now." Chen Qinghe couldn't suppress his panic and tried to escape, but the woman grabbed his collar and then a roar came. "Chen Qinghe, I'm going to beat your ass today. Qingmeng, hurry up. Run. Go and call the tribe leader to save me." Looking at the fleeing Chen Qingmeng, Xiao Zhenfang's face was dark. These 2 little bastards actually wanted to hunt in the burial mountain. If it wasn't for the tribe members telling her in a dream, she really wouldn't have found out. P.S. Don't quarrel, I'm not good at writing female characters, so I don't write much about them. As for Chen Qingyu, just assume that his parents died when he was a few years old. Warm tips: if you find that clicking the next page will force you to jump to other websites, please use the chapter error or contact us at the bottom to let us know. We will handle it as soon as possible. Thank you for your understanding. Chapter 94 Open the Door. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After a meal, Chen Qinghe and Chen Qingmeng left the family smoothly. However, the things they had prepared for hunting had been confiscated. Leaving with the 2 of them, there was also a wooden cart with dozens of kilograms of rice on it. At this moment, Chen Qinghe was in front and Chen Qingmeng was behind. The 2 of them were pushing the cart towards the village mentioned by the clan leader. Although Gumi is a bit heavy, the 2 of them are also body-tempering realm warriors, so this weight is not a problem for them. Brothers from the Qingyu clan can go, but why can't I go? I'm at the middle stage of the body-tempering realm after all. Maybe I can also make a breakthrough in hunting. Qingmeng, Do you think this is true? Chinchingha said angrily while pulling the cart. Actually, I think it's okay to send food. Anyway, it's all about contributing to the family. Chinchingmeng said nonchalantly. This made Chinchingha instantly dumbfounded. But hunting seems to be more interesting. That's right, that they were young people after all, and in the strange environment around them that was different from their family, the emotions in their hearts quickly disappeared. The two of them were pulling the cart and walking on the relatively flat road. Chinchingha suddenly asked. Qingmeng, what do you want to do in the future? Chinchingmeng replied without hesitation. In the future, I want to be as powerful as Brother Qingyu. Then, what do you want to do now that Brother Qingyu is so powerful? After hearing this, Chinchingmeng showed his long-awaited reflection, but he quickly replied. Of course it's to protect the family and make the family stronger. At that time, I will hunt 2 ferocious beasts a day, eat one, and raise another. This way the family will not have to worry about running out of food in the future. After saying that, Chinching licked his lips subconsciously, and his eyes seemed to have thought about how to eat the ferocious beasts he was hunting. After hearing Chinchingmeng's thoughts, Chinchingha sighed helplessly on his young face. Qingha, what about you? What do you want to do in the future? Chinchingmeng, who had regained his senses, asked back. Chinchingha also replied. I also want to be as powerful as my Qingyu clan brother first. Then, I want to take a look outside the mass burial mountain. I heard from my grandpa that the outside world is very big, with many powerful people and many beautiful places. I want to see different scenery. Chinchingha looked across the surrounding mountains and looked into the distance, with a trace of yearning in his eyes. Qingmeng, otherwise you can go with me when the time comes. I heard that there are a lot of delicious food out there. Chinchingmeng also had a trace of yearning in his eyes, but then he shook his head. No, my grandfather said, it's dangerous outside, it's better to stay within the family. Chinchingha didn't look disappointed after hearing this, but said with a smile. Okay, then when I return to my clan, I will bring you delicious food. Keep the ones you haven't eaten. Okay. The two of them smiled and thought about the bright future. The rays of the setting sun hit the two of them, stretching their shadows very long. It didn't take long for the two of them to see their destination ahead. It was an extremely simple village. Around the village, there were crooked stone walls that were half a person tall. The stone walls were not complete, and there were gaps at regular intervals. It was hard to believe in the defense of this stone wall. Among the surrounding stone walls, there are about a dozen houses built of wood and straw. These houses are still simple, and the straw on the roofs is of varying colors, as if they have just been repaired. The two people who saw their destination also breathed a sigh of relief, slowed down, and then arrived at the entrance of the village. The distance between the family and this village was not short. Even though the dozens of kilograms of rice were not too heavy, it still cost the two of them a lot of energy. Stone Village. Chinchingmeng looked at the 3 big characters on the wooden board above the village entrance and read them unconsciously. But when he read the second word, Chinchingmeng started scratching his head, and then looked at Chinchingha. Qingha, what do you pronounce the middle character? Chinchingha looked up, stared for a long time, and then shook his head. It doesn't matter, just call it Stone Village. Let's finish it quickly and go back, otherwise it will be too late. Seeing the sky getting later and later, Chinchingmeng also nodded hastily. According to the speed of the two of them, they should have arrived faster, but they were just playful and stayed for a long time. Seeing that there seemed to be no one in the village, Chinchingha and the two wanted to speed up the progress without hesitation. They directly pushed the cart behind them into the village and quickly arrived at the door of a house. Clang clang clang. Fellow, open the door, we are here to deliver food. Open the door quickly. After several knocks by Chinchingha, the wooden door, which was not strong enough, made a hissing sound, and then fell down under the gaze of the two people. Chinchingha's hand that was about to knock on the door stopped in midair. After realizing that he had broken someone else's door, Chinchingha's face also changed slightly. He forgot that he was already a warrior in the middle stage of the body-tempering realm. He had just risen to the realm and was still unable to perfectly control his own power, which resulted in him using a little too much strength. That's all. After the door fell down, Chen Qinghe glanced across the simple room and found the father and daughter hiding in the corner, shivering. The father and daughter looked at the broken door and did not dare to say anything. They just looked at Chen Qinghe with fearful eyes. An embarrassed smile appeared on Chen Qinghe's face. So you are at home. I'm here to deliver food. Come on, get the food quickly. Chen Qinghe tried to use the most friendly and sunny smile, but the room was dark, and Chen Qinghe's figure directly enveloped the entire door, revealing only a pair of shining white teeth. At this moment, Chen Qinghe's smile looked like a mandrill with a strange smile in the eyes of the father and daughter. Hey, I finally found someone. Chen Qingmeng's inappropriate words came from the side. These words completely broke the silence in the room. My lord, please spare my life. My lord, please spare your life. There is nothing valuable in this old man's house. Please let us go. Oh, Grandpa, I'm afraid. The old man tried hard to protect his granddaughter behind him and kept begging for mercy. This made the smile on Chen Qinghe's face freeze. Chen Qingmeng, who was unloading the rice from the cart, also stopped his movements and scratched his head in confusion. They had never encountered such a situation. Beast! Stop! Stone Village, are not that easy to bully. Just when the two were at a loss and didn't know what to do, a dozen villagers quickly rushed out of other houses nearby. These villagers are both men and women, and at this moment they are holding the farm tools they usually work with. However, from the slightly frightened eyes of many villagers, they still cannot hide the fear and panic in their hearts. Chapter 95, Apology. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When the 10 or so people saw Chen Qinghe and Chen Qingmeng blocking the door, there was a hint of surprise in their eyes, because these two people didn't look like bad people, but the old man's begging for mercy and the girls crying in the house revealed their crimes. Coupled with the damaged door, the situation is needless to say. Beast, what did you do? A middle-aged man holding a wooden stick, clenched his teeth, and said angrily. We are here to deliver food. Chen Qingmeng answered directly, and put the bag of rice that had just fallen on the ground on the cart to avoid dirtying it. You call this delivering food? The other villagers were also very angry when they saw this. This was clearly a robbery in front of them. Everyone was ready to fight. Chen Qinghe was a little dumbfounded, but he didn't know how to explain this situation. But in order to prevent the villagers from fighting, Chen Qinghe silently circulated his blood and energy, and then kicked the big stone placed aside into several pieces. Feeling the pain from his feet, Chen Qinghe had a blank expression on his face, trying to recall the indifference that his brother Qingyu often showed. Fortunately, he is now in the middle stage of the tempering body realm, otherwise he would not be able to kick it to pieces. The villagers who were originally preparing to attack the two were stunned after seeing the scene in front of them, looking at Chen Qinghe with incredible eyes, and the thought of wanting to attack was instantly gone. How could their bodies compare to that big stone? The middle-aged man in the lead was also stunned when he saw this, and asked in surprise. Warrior, seeing that the situation became stable, Chen Qinghe slowly spoke. Everyone, I am Chen Qinghe of the Chen family. Today, I am here to deliver rice to you on the order of the clan leader. As for just now, there were some misunderstandings. Yes, it was a misunderstanding. Chen Qingmeng on the side also nodded, seeing that Chen Qinghe and the other two were generous, calm, thinking of the scene where Chen Qinghe kicked the big stone to pieces just now. These villagers also showed a trace of doubt in their eyes. Moreover, the grains on the cart did not seem to be something that could be searched from the home of old man's son and his daughter. Everyone, make way. The village chief is here. Soon, an old man came over breathlessly. Although he did not see the scene just now, the villagers had already described it to him. After seeing the grains on the cart and Chen Qinghe, the old man hurriedly said. Make way quickly. What are you doing? These two are from the Chen family. They are here to deliver food. Old son, come out and explain. The old man in the wooden house also walked out quickly. After seeing that Chen Qinghe and Chen Qingmeng at the door were just teenagers, the fearful look on his face also changed a little, but this cannot be blamed on him. Hearing someone knocking on the door and shouting for him to open the door, how dare he open it? Fortunately, the misunderstanding was quickly explained. After several villagers apologized, Chen Qinghe also said that it was okay and that he was too reckless. Soon, the two had distributed grains to the people in the village. The two brought a lot of rice this time, but there were only a dozen households in Shitu village, so there was still a lot of rice left. After the discussion between Chen Qinghe and Chen Qingmeng, the remaining rice was quickly distributed. As for the grandfather and daughter, Chen Qingyu distributed more rice to compensate for the loss of the wooden door. While distributing rice, Chen Qingmeng did not forget the number of people and households in the village, which were all things that the clan leader had told him in advance. When the two finished these things, it was dark. "Are you two friends going to leave now? It's so late, why don't you stay in my Shirlu village for one night? Although there is nothing good in my Shirlu village, there are still some simple meals. You two friends should not have eaten yet, right?" Hearing that the two were going back to the tribe, the old man, as the village chief, quickly came forward to retain them. Not only the old man, but other villagers also invited them warmly. Facing the enthusiasm of the villagers, Chen Qinghe and the others were also hesitant, and their stomachs couldn't help but gurgle. Although warriors are strong, they consume food quickly, and they also spent a lot of energy traveling during the day. Besides, it was indeed dark, so the two were very hesitant at the moment. "Two friends, we didn't treat you well during the day, so why don't you stay here for one night as an apology to the villagers and go back tomorrow?" Under the persuasion of the village chief, Chen Qinghe and the others no longer hesitated. They were indeed hungry, and it seemed that it was not impossible to go back tomorrow. "Chief, what's going on? Where are they now?" In the Chen family, Chen Tianjing asked worriedly. "Other members of the family have returned, but Chen Qingyu and the others have not been seen for a long time, so he had to find the chief to ask. "Don't worry, I have just asked the sacred tree and the elders of the clan." The two did not encounter any danger and seemed to have settled down in the village. Chen Tianjing was no longer worried after hearing the news. Since the sacred tree has given instructions, there must be no problem, but when this kid comes back, he will definitely not show mercy. "Tianjing, how has the situation been these days?" Hearing Chen Xingzhen asking about the business, Chen Tianjing immediately said, "Chief, according to the statistics of the clan members in recent days, there are 38 villages of all sizes near our burial mountain. The largest village has 40 households, and the smallest village has only 8 households, with a total of more than 1,500 people. This time, more than 3,000 kilograms of rice have been distributed. In several of the large villages, several warriors in the tempering body realm were found." "Yes." After hearing this, Chen Xingzhen nodded slightly. This number was within his expectations. "I think the name of the Chen family in the burial mountain has been known by the nearby villages, which has greatly facilitated the future development of the family. As for the presence of warriors in the village, it is not surprising, but as long as they have nothing to do with the Li family and the Lu family. The few warriors who were found only entered the tempering body realm by chance, but without the skills, they could never enter a higher realm. As for whether the family will absorb these warriors, Chen Xingzhen's answer is no. The family has always valued blood ties. The high-level warriors who maintain the family must be family members, so as to ensure the longevity of the family. Although absorbing other warriors can quickly increase the strength of the family, they are not our own family members after all. If this continues for a long time, it will not be conducive to the development of the family. However, when there are more warriors in the family and the family's strength is stronger, it is not impossible to recruit some warriors like guards or those with certain experience to teach the clan members. Although there are ancestors in the family who come into dreams, they are all at night and cannot personally guide the clan members. And the blood coagulation realm warriors in the family are actually very weak in the face of some realms of experience. These are the weaknesses of the family. But now the family has not yet reached this condition, and there is no rush. Then Chen Xingzhen called Qin Tianyu and others and asked about other details. After learning that many clan members had gained something when distributing rice, Chen Xingzhen smiled again. In this way, after a while, we can notify the major villages and choose a suitable place to hold a blind date meeting. The conditions of the family members are excellent, and I think there should be many people in the major villages who are willing. PS originally 2 kilograms per household, changed to per person. Chapter 96 It's Snowing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At the entrance of Shirlu village, the village chief and a group of villagers saw them off for a long distance, but they were reluctant to return to the village. Seeing this, Chen Qinghe and Chen Qingmeng hurriedly said, "Village chief, don't see them off, we're leaving. If they continue to see them off, they will have to be sent back to the tribe." "Well, okay." The village chief hesitated, and he was hesitant to speak, and scratched his head from time to time, hoping that Chen Qinghe and the others would see through his disguise and enter his heart, but when he finished this series of actions, he heard the villagers beside him say, "Village chief, they're gone." "Ah. Gone now?" The village chief looked up and saw that the two figures had gone a long way, and it seemed too late to chase them now. This made him sigh, and he hurriedly asked the man next to him, "How many kilograms of rice did they eat last night?" 15 kilograms, village chief." Hearing this answer, his heartbeat slowed down by 2 beats. Perhaps he was too enthusiastic last night, and he would not have kept the 2 people if he had known, but he didn't expect that these 2 teenagers could eat so much. If the 2 hadn't brought more rice, they would have eaten it all after staying overnight. That's why he was embarrassed to speak just now. After all, they came from a long way and brought food to the village. It's just a meal, although the food is all from his family. Alas, it seems that he will have to tighten his belt in the future. This rice is really not good to eat. It's better to eat blood rice. Yeah, I just ate it last night, and I feel a little hungry again. On the way back to the tribe, Chen Qinghe and the others talked, but in fact, it's not the case. It's just because after eating blood rice on weekdays, the 2 will temper their bodies and digest blood rice. An ordinary rice doesn't produce much blood and qi. In addition, the 2 consumed a lot yesterday, which caused them to get hungry very quickly. As for the meaning expressed by the village chief's expression and actions just now, the 2 did not notice it. Following the road yesterday, the 2 rushed back to the family in a short time. However, when the 2 saw Chen Tianjing and Chen Tianyu guarding the door, the joy they had just been communicating with each other instantly disappeared. Bang! As the Taizu Changquan ended, the ferocious beast in the middle stage of the blood coagulation realm in front of him was directly killed by Chen Qingyu with 1 punch. But after solving this fierce beast, Chen Qingyu's face was not happy, but a little sad. When he fought with Lu Xingrong before, he had the honor to comprehend the mystery of the Taizu Changquan, but now when he used the Taizu Changquan, he did not have this comprehension, as if he was always a little short of it. As for the newly learned Xian-level combat skill, Mingyue Rushuang, he has not yet entered the door. The difficulty of comprehending Xian-level combat skills is still higher than that of Taizu Changquan, but he thinks that this combat skill can be almost entered in 2 days. Combat skills are fine, but now Chen Qingyu wants to break through his own realm, not only the great success of the blood coagulation realm, but the innate realm. He had previously used the locust leaves of the sacred tree to briefly break through the Xiantian realm. Although that was not his own breakthrough and was slightly different from the real Xiantian realm, it was still the Xiantian realm and an extremely valuable experience. It was precisely because of this experience that Chen Qingyu wanted to break through to the Xiantian realm even more. After the elders of the clan were resurrected, his father had told him in a dream how to quickly break through the realm in several ways. Among them, the current combat breakthrough method was suitable for him, which was to stimulate his own blood in a high-intensity battle. The strength of the fierce beast in the middle stage of the blood coagulation realm was too weak to allow him to fight fiercely. He still needed to find a fierce beast with a higher realm, but it couldn't be the Xiantian realm, which would only be a way to his own death. However, the 2-day trip to the Mass Grave Mountain had already brought him a lot of gains. He felt that he would soon be able to achieve the great success of the blood coagulation realm. After Chen Qingyu dealt with the corpses of the hunted fierce beasts, he was ready to leave. When he left, he suddenly felt a cold touch on his forehead, which made Chen Qingyu look up. Snowflakes were slowly falling from the white sky. These snowflakes were crystal clear, and melted quickly after touching the skin, and then turned into a cool breeze. After Chen Qingyu stayed for a short while, his figure quickly disappeared from the spot. It's snowing. The snow fell silently, and the cold was deep in the bones, but the family was under the protection of the sacred tree, so the Chen family members did not have such an experience. However, many of them were still excited when they saw the snowflakes falling from the sky. this excitement was not simply because they saw the snow. It snowed every winter in the burial mountain, and snow was normal for them. On the contrary, they did not like the arrival of winter, which meant that the family could not plant or hunt, and it might even cause many of the family members to catch a cold due to the cold. But now it is different. The family has completely established a foundation in the burial mountain. The family is warm and comfortable. Even if the first two are still not possible, the family members do not have to worry about food. Recalling last winter, the family was still fighting with the Lee family, and the family members were also living a life of hunger. The completely different state of mind and the improved family made many family members feel differently, which is why they noticed the beautiful scenery of heavy snow. Many family members were surprised to find that whenever the snow fell above the Chen family, it had completely melted without leaving any trace, and a few meters away from the Chen family, the fallen snow had already accumulated a thin layer of white frost on the ground. At first glance, the tribe and the outside world seemed like two different worlds. Have all the tribe members returned to the tribe? In the ancestral hall, Chen Xingzhen asked Chen Tianjing and others beside him. Chief, all the tribe members who were outside have returned to the tribe, and all the major villages have received the rice distributed by the tribe. Now only Qingyu has not been reported back. Chen Xingzhen nodded slightly when he heard this: spring plowing, summer weeding, autumn harvest, winter storage. Although the tribe cannot do much in winter, it can allow the tribe members to devote themselves to martial arts. As for Chen Qingyu, it is too late to worry now. I can only hope that he can rush back to the family before the heavy snow blocks the mountain, but after the snow, Chen Xingzhen's previous plan will fail. Although the family is not afraid of wind and snow now, the many villages that rely on the surrounding burial mountain cannot do so. The snow blocks the road, which will cause the tribe to be unable to contact the villages, so the previous idea will naturally not work. This is his negligence. Now he can only wait until the snow stops before making plans. After thinking for a while, Chen Xingzhen turned around and said, "You will be responsible for the training of the warriors in the clan in the next few days. In a few days, you can also test how well the clan members have learned their fighting skills." He did not forget the promise he made before, and gave rewards to the top three. However, considering the realm relationship, the blood coagulation realm warriors will not be tested. Yes, clan leader. After several clan members left, Chen Xingzhen looked back at the family's sacred tree and worshipped it devoutly. The family can be what it is today, and the sacred tree has made an indelible contribution. Next year, the family will definitely offer more sacrifices. Chapter 97. The Black Gold Beast thinks you are delicious. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Above, as if hearing Chen Xingzhen's pious prayer, the branches and leaves of the locust tree scattered green light and merged into Chen Xingzhen's body. Although it could not help Chen Xingzhen improve his realm, it could make his blood more active. With active blood, life will naturally be longer. Ji Yang admired the head of the Chen family who blindly trusted the sacred tree and persisted. Although this blindness was not rational in the eyes of other clansmen, Ji Yang, who inherited the will of the family sacred tree, could not make any comments. After Chen Xingzhen left the ancestral hall, Ji Yang looked at the snowflakes falling from the sky. In his previous life, he had never seen such a beautiful scenery. In order to feel it up close, Ji Yang even controlled the temperature above himself, allowing many snowflakes to fall on his branches and leaves. Unfortunately, he is now a tree, and the thick bark made him not feel the same as before, and could only add a touch of sadness. After a while, Ji Yang moved his eyes away and looked at his attribute panel. Name, Ji Yang. Race, Netherworld Sephora Japonica. Life Force, 172.5. Magic Power, Eye of Insight, Reversal of Danqing, Blindness of a Leaf, Condensation of Soul, Armor Cover, 1,000 Miles of Red Land. Skills, Eclipse of the Moon, Gathering Yin. Combat Skill, Taizu Changquan. Blood, 35, can be converted into vitality. Spiritual Power, 50. Deduction Points, 11. Deduction is possible. Status, some people are alive, but they are already dead. The sacrifices of the clan for several days have restored his vitality, and after absorbing the consciousness of Qingzhu, Ji Yang can see farther. Before, he could only see the place where the roots extended, but now he can see the outline of the entire clan, and when his vitality continues to increase, he can see farther with the expansion of the roots. However, the family sacrifice has passed, and the sacrifice will have to be made once a week. Fortunately, Ji Yang also has the eclipse technique, so as long as he has enough time, he can grow very fast. At Ji Yang's current absorption speed, he can absorb 3 points of vitality every night, but a few days ago, Ji Yang used the magical power of Redland 1,000 miles to maintain the temperature in the clan. Although it is just a simple way to let the roots underground emit heat, after Ji Yang's calculation, it will consume 0.1 of his vitality every 2 hours. In other words, if it lasts for a day, it will consume 0.6 of his vitality. Although it is not much, it is not a small amount when accumulated. Considering that the winter in the burial mountain is particularly cold, Ji Yang is not going to remove this magical power. Now that the family has no external worries, of course, the family must develop rapidly. If the weather is too cold, the clan members may not be interested in doing other things. Soon, Ji Yang looked at the deduction points below. In the past few days, with the accumulation of a large amount of blood rice and the blood and flesh of fierce beasts, some ordinary people in the clan have also successfully tempered their bodies and become warriors. Although it was only the initial stage of body tempering, it also added a few deduction points for Ji Yang. However, they were old and their blood was not sufficient. Even if they barely entered the body tempering stage, they could not go further, but they were warriors anyway, much stronger than ordinary people. When Ji Yang looked at the button for deduction, his heart was moved. Although this deduction point was only enough for double deduction, and single deduction could only be deduced twice, Ji Yang, who was really bored, could not help it. High multiple deduction can certainly unlock rare maps, but single multiple deduction seems to be good too. For example, in the first deduction that Ji Yang still remembered, he obtained the lunar eclipse technique. If he could do it again, he might have a chance to obtain another technique. If he could really encounter it, it would definitely be a great improvement for Ji Yang. This made Ji Yang very excited. Now there is nothing going on in the clan. At the current snowfall rate, it will not take a few days for the clan to be covered with thick snow. In this weather, the family would not be in any danger, and he had enough vitality now, which was enough for another family war. Thinking of this, Ji Yang no longer hesitated. Considering that the purpose of his deduction was to obtain a skill similar to the lunar eclipse, Ji Yang decided to deduce it once to try the effect. And the chance of 2 times is much greater than 1 time. This deduction requires 10 blood, 5 spiritual power, and 5 deduction points. Do you want to continue? Yes. No. There was no time for Ji Yang to react, and there was no scrolling image. The moment he clicked yes, a scene had changed in front of Ji Yang. This made Ji Yang couldn't help complaining in his heart, isn't it just a few points of blood? No matter how he looked at it, he was not allowed to take a look. You were born in a dense forest. In order to become a towering tree as soon as possible, you began to grow hard. Just as Ji Yang was complaining in his heart and observing the surrounding environment, the prompt in front of him instantly made Ji Yang more energetic. If he remembered correctly, his first deduction, the time he obtained the lunar eclipse technique, seemed to be in the dense forest. Could it be? He was going to be lucky. Without the bonus of multiple deductions, Ji Yang did not carry any abilities, and he was just a newly born seedling, nothing special. As the subtitles faded, Ji Yang also began to observe the surroundings carefully, looking for the figure of the spring and autumn cicada. But after searching for several times, Ji Yang did not see it. But if you think about it carefully, with his current size and height, even if he sees the spring-autumn cicada, he probably won't be able to attract it. It is better to wait and see what happens. Time began to accelerate again, and Ji Yang himself slowly began to grow. It didn't take long for Ji Yang to be more than half a person tall. Just as Ji Yang was growing up, there was some movement in the grass not far from the dense forest. This made Ji Yang couldn't help but look over. The first thing that appeared in Ji Yang's field of vision was a pair of bright white fangs. As the owner of the fangs got closer and closer, its full appearance was revealed. This is a ferocious beast that Ji Yang is quite familiar with, the black gold beast, but it is slightly different from the black gold beast in Mass Burial Mountain, with a different color. In his previous life, he had another nickname, Wild Boar. It's just that the black gold beast in front of him seems to be of a particularly high level. And even his dull eyes have some spirituality, but after reincarnation, Ji Yang's powerful consciousness did not accompany him, and his specific realm could not be distinguished. He could only make guesses based on his body shape. After the black gold beast passed through the grass, it quickly moved towards Ji Yang. This made Ji Yang feel a little bad. Before Ji Yang had time to react, the fangs of the black gold beast appeared in front of Ji Yang's eyes. The next moment, Ji Yang's vision went dark, and at the same time there was a slight sound of chewing in his ears. Yujiman thinks you're delicious, you are dead. As the prompt in front of him disappeared, Ji Yang's vision began to change again, and when the black gold beast swallowed Ji Yang, its eyes became much brighter, and its eyes were looking around, as if looking for the same sapling. Ji Yang, who returned to the ancestral hall, couldn't help but cursed in his heart. If you deduce it again, he will be a dog. Chapter 98 New Clan Rules. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The deduction is over. You have learned a new ability in this deduction, sensitive perception. Sensitive perception. You can easily detect other people's malicious intentions. Ji Yang was surprised. He didn't expect to die so quickly and gain a new ability, not bad. But Ji Yang didn't plan to use the remaining deduction points. Single-fold deduction cannot carry its own ability, and the risk is indeed relatively large. It is better to save it for multiple deductions next time. Now it will take a while to open up the family situation. Wait for him to be quiet for a while. Hey, ha. 3 days later, the sound of fists came from the family square. Looking around, many family warriors gathered here to practice combat skills. 10 meters away from the family, snowflakes were flying, but compared with the previous few days, it was much smaller. However, the continuous snowfall for several days has made the outside of the family thick snow, but the temperature in the family is pleasant, and many warriors who practice combat skills are wearing thin clothes, and their bodies are faintly hot. Hey, when can I learn this fighting skill? In the square, Qinqing sighed. He had no strength left in the Taizu Changquan. Even if it was just a yellow-level fighting skill, it still required a lot of practice to learn it. Aside, Chen Qingmeng looked determined, and continued to swing his fists, feeling the circulation of blood and qi in his body, and combining the movements in his hands with the circulation of blood and qi. Seeing that Chen Qingmeng did not give up, Chen Qing stopped complaining and continued to practice. Not far away, Chen Xingzhen looked at the scene in the square with relief. Although most of the family's tempering realm warriors had not learned it yet, it would not take long. As for the fighting skill of Mingyue Rushuang, it was temporarily passed on to the blood coagulation realm warriors in the family. But the difficulty of learning the Xian-level fighting skills is also extremely great. Afterwards, Chen Qingyu looked into the distance. There was also some worry in his heart. It had been snowing for the past few days, but Chen Qingyu still hadn't returned. If he hadn't asked the sacred tree for instructions and learned that there was no problem, he would probably have sent the tribesmen to look for him. Chief, the new clothes of the tribe have all been prepared. Xiao Zhenfang came forward to report. Hearing this, Chen Xingzhen nodded repeatedly. Thank you for your hard work. It just so happens that I have also written the new clan rules. Let's distribute them together later. Yes, Chief. Xiao Zhenfang led 2 tribesmen to the square. In the hands of several people, there were new clothes for the family. When several people came to the square with new family clothes, many tribesmen were attracted. The new clothes are all made of fine fur, in the style of a long gown, with 2 layers, which can keep warm in winter, and only need to wear the outer layer in summer. In terms of clothing style, it is not much different from the clothes worn by the tribesmen. Although it looks simple, there is an embroidered pattern on the cuffs of the new clothes. The pattern is naturally the family totem. In the embroidery, green and black are used, interspersed with embroidery, and the current family tree is perfectly depicted. It can be seen that the clan members have spent a lot of effort in this regard. The clan members who got the new clothes all looked happy and held them in their hands very preciously, worried about getting them dirty. Many clan members even prepared to store them, but then they were told that they would need to wear these clothes whenever the family needed to go out in the future. This was naturally the idea proposed by the deceased elders of the family. If a family wants to be strong, it not only needs a certain strength, but also needs a new image to the outside world, so that a strong family can be created. And with totems, the clan members can always worship and pray in their hearts, and in the future, the family logo will also use this pattern. In addition to the new clothes, new clan rules were also distributed. Family rules have always been there, but the previous rules are not very suitable for the current family, so many of them have been abandoned, but now it is not possible. Chen Qinghe turned over the clan rules in his hand. 1. If the situation is not urgent, the clan members are not allowed to use the 5 internal organs ascension technique. 2. Even if they use it, they cannot explode the heart. If anyone discovers it, they will not be allowed to enter the family ancestral hall. 3. It is strictly forbidden to pass on the last move of the 5 internal organs ascension technique to clan members who are not aware of it. 4. If you encounter a danger that you cannot resist outside, you should rush back to the family as soon as possible. Looking at the new family rules, Chen Qinghe was stunned for a moment. The first 3 rules are about the 5 internal organs ascension technique, but thinking of the previous clan member, everyone has no objection. It's just that the clan rules are quite long, and they have to read them for a while. In the distance, Chen Xingzhen also paid attention to the reactions of the clan members. Although these clan rules have many restrictions, they are ultimately for the safety of each clan member and the family. With the power of the sacred tree, the 5 internal organs ascension technique may really help the family, but the last move needs to be guarded against. Even if this fighting skill is passed down in the future, the last method of exploding the heart needs to be removed. The next day, the snowflakes in the sky disappeared, the snow stopped, but the weather was still cold. It would take about 2 months for the snow to melt, and it was very likely to snow again during this period. After noticing the snow had stopped, Chen Xingzhen quickly issued an order to have the tribesmen open up the road leading to other villages. Winter was long, and even if they could not plant or hunt, the development of the family could not stagnate. Many tribesmen who heard the news also began to get busy. Blood coagulation realm warriors have strong qi and blood, and they can melt snow using combat skills. Every blood coagulation realm warrior is an automatic snow shovel. As for the body tempering realm warriors, they can only rely on the tools in their hands. Even with the full assistance of the warriors in the clan, it took the family 10 days to open up the family's roads to many villages. Fortunately, it didn't snow in Mass Burial Mountain during these 10 days. On the second day after the family shoveled snow, Chen Qingyu returned to the family dragging her injured body. Although he suffered a lot of injuries, the light in his eyes was even brighter, and his state had reached the blood coagulation realm. The injury was quite serious, but under the treatment of the sacred tree, he returned to normal in just a moment. Chen Qingyu, who had recovered from her injuries, seemed to have gained something, so she directly chose to retreat in her clan. Chen Xingzhen was naturally overjoyed after hearing this. He immediately prepared the room and did not allow his clansmen to disturb him. Other side, when many villages discovered that the Chen family members had arrived, they all looked surprised. After all, the mountains are closed by heavy snow on weekdays, and the villagers can only shovel the snow in their own villages. This is already the limit of the village, so how can they waste their efforts to open roads outside? After learning about the Chen family's intention to come, the village chiefs of each village were delighted and began to discuss it in the village. Chance. 2 words appeared in their minds. Nowadays, there is only one family in the Mass Burial Mountain, the Chen family. Both the fertile land and the hunting area of the Mass Burial Mountain are controlled by the Chen family. Although they usually hunt and farm, that is also a place that the 3 major families did not want. There are not many wild animals in the hunting area, and the resources are not rich. Even the fields where they are planted can only produce an average harvest of rice. As for blood rice, they can't grow it at all. The fertile fields that can grow blood rice are all controlled by the 3 major families, but now the Chen family is planning to marry outside. Wouldn't this be a good opportunity for these villages? Chapter 99 Marriage. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As long as a villager marries into the Chen family, the relationship between the village and the Chen family will inevitably become closer. The burial mountain is not big, but it is not small either. With the connection, at least the villagers' lives will become better in the future, no matter from which aspect. In addition, the Chen family has many warriors, even blood coagulation warriors. Moreover, there are many Chen family warriors who came to announce the news this time. Although most villagers are not clear about the boundaries, they know that this is the limit they can touch. It is said that strong warriors can hunt fierce beasts. That is not comparable to ordinary wild beasts. It is said that eating a piece of meat can last for a day. After the villagers marry in and give birth to children, can they not be warriors in the future? Even if they are from the Chen family, their mothers also walked out of the village. If they have a promising future, can they not help the villagers? No matter from which aspect, the marriage is extremely beneficial to the village, whether now or in the future. After the Chen family members explained their intentions, many villages agreed without thinking and asked about the specific time of the marriage. After thinking about it, some villages immediately responded. Among them, all the villages, big and small, agreed, except for a few villages where the population was declining and there were no women of marriageable age. As for the specific time of the marriage, the family set it for 3 days later. The clan members who received the news also looked forward to it and began to prepare for the subsequent marriage. In this world, people over the age of 16 are already adults. There are already many adult clan members in the family, most of whom are from the Qing generation. These clan members have not had time to get married because of the previous family war. However, with so many villages participating, it should not be a big problem. What? Your father wants you to marry into the Chen family. In Chanlu village, a young man looked at the girl in front of him with surprise, his eyes full of disbelief. Well, my father said that the Chen family is now a big family in the Mass Grave Mountain, and asked me to marry into it. Kaixing, what should I do? The girl looked sad, with a hint of pleading in her eyes. The young man looked pale when he heard the girl's words. It's not that he had not asked the girl's father to marry the girl to him before, but he was poor and could not catch his eye. Now that he knew that his beloved woman was about to marry into the Chen family, the young man looked depressed, but he couldn't say anything for a while. Now that the Chen family is the only one in power, all the villages know it. He is just a villager, not even a warrior. Even the girl's father disagrees. How can he compete with the Chen family? The young man fell into silence, and he didn't even know when the girl left. The weather was cold, but the young man's heart was even colder. Damn it! 30 years in the east, 30 years in the west. I, Zhang Taizhu, will never give up. 3 days later, a new pavilion had been built outside the Chen family. The pavilion is simple, but it is protected by the power of the sacred tree, and it looks unique in this white snow. In each village, villagers brought girls of the right age from their tribe, in order to prevent the village from forcing unwilling girls or breaking up the childhood sweethearts in the village. Chen Xingzhen asked the girls one by one whether they had a crush on someone, and whether they were willing. Although with the current strength of the family, we don't need to care about these, but for the harmony of the family and the village, it is better not to happen. With so many villages, there is no need to worry about the lack of marriageable people in the tribe. After Chen Xingzhen's investigation, he actually found a few, although they said that there were no girls. As warriors in the late stage of blood coagulation, the eyes and movements of these people were invisible in front of him. Of course, this is just a small episode. There are more than 100 girls brought by the major villages this time, and there are only a dozen marriageable people in the Chen family. If it weren't for the age, and Chen Qinghe and others were unwilling, Chen Tianjing and others would have been ready to force the marriage. Although there were not many people of marriageable age in the tribe, such a large scene also attracted many tribesmen to come and watch. Qing Meng, what are you looking at? Chen Qinghe looked at the slightly demented Chen Qingmeng and asked. Chen Qingmeng did not answer, and Chen Qinghe followed his line of sight to look at a girl in front of him. The girl was not very old, with long braids and a slightly timid face, but her muscles were very burly, and she was quite eye-catching in the crowd. Qingmeng, do you like this? Chen Qinghe asked again. Chen Qingmeng nodded without hesitation. My mother said that only such people have strength, and we have to choose such a wife when choosing a wife. Wait 2 years, I will choose someone stronger than this. Chen Qinghe did not refute. In fact, most of the girls present were like this, and other tribesmen didn't think there was anything wrong with it. They even gave priority to those with strong bodies. As for those with weak bodies, most of them were excluded by the tribesmen at the first time, but Chen Qinghe didn't like this very much, mainly because he felt that these girls looked very similar to his mother. Thinking of having another mother after getting married, Chen Qinghe felt a little scared. In the bonfire burning outside the tribe, the blind date meeting went exceptionally smoothly. Among them, some had already taken a fancy to her, and some agreed after some communication. after confirming the marriage partner, Chen Xingzhen also asked the tribesman to escort the one he liked back to enhance the relationship between the two. As for the other girls, they were also escorted back by other tribesmen. Although the weather was cold, there was no guarantee that there would be ferocious beasts in the wild. Since this matter was initiated by the Chen family, they had to protect their safety. After confirming the candidate, it was time to choose a date for the wedding. Although the time from knowing to getting married was very short, marriage was also a family event and needed to be taken seriously. The ceremony was held on a good day, at a good time, and at a good time, and it also needed to be recognized by the family's sacred tree. Only in this way could it be considered to enter his Chen family. As for the time, it was also set for a few days later. In the meantime, the family and the village were allowed to prepare. As a large family in the mass grave mountain today, the betrothal gift naturally could not be shabby. Although the strength of the two is not equal, this is from the family's emphasis on the tribesman. P.S. These 2 days are transitional chapters. Window, _Taboola equals window, _Taboola, _Taboola.push, mode, thumbs, feed, 01, container, Taboola, below, article, thumbnail, 300x250, placement, below article thumbnail, 300 by 250. Target _type, mix. Chapter 100 Rice Wine. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On this day, the Chen family was decorated with lanterns and decorations. There is a lively atmosphere inside and outside the clan. Today is a happy day for many clan members. The clan leader Chen Xingzhen has already made arrangements for all aspects. The daily martial arts practice has been put aside, and the rice wine made from rice has also been brought out. Although the alcohol content of the rice wine is not high, everyone will get drunk if the wine is not intoxicating. Even Ji Yang in the ancestral hall tasted it, although he didn't taste anything. In addition to wine brewed from ordinary grains, the family also brewed some blood rice. The rice wine brewed from blood rice not only tastes good, but also contains more qi and blood than the blood rice itself. It is also more suitable for warriors to temper their bodies. However, the brewing time is longer. If you want to produce rice wine, you have to wait until next spring. In the ancestral hall, many living souls were full of joy, because among them, those getting married included their descendants. These living souls even worshipped in the ancestral hall. I didn't expect to see this scene after they died, only the 2 souls in the corner side. In addition, the family also invited village chiefs from many villages to participate this time. The village chiefs looked frightened, but after 3 rounds of drinking, they were no longer restrained. The purpose of inviting these village chiefs is also very simple, for the smooth progress of other affairs of the family. There are many places where the family will employ people. As night approaches, the moon rises above the willow branches, and the locust trees in the ancestral hall gleam with fluorescent lights. The originally lively families gradually begin to quiet down. As for the village chiefs, they have already taken a break with their families and are waiting for their return tomorrow. Clan leader, let me help you go in and rest. No, you should go to bed earlier. Chen Xingzhen waved his hand and walked slowly towards his room. As the clan leader, he naturally couldn't be absent today, and after seeing that many clan members' marriages were settled, Chen Xingzhen couldn't help but drink a few more drinks. However, he is already a warrior in the late stage of blood coagulation realm, so this rice wine is nothing to him. He can even use the power of qi and blood in his body to dispel the alcohol smell, but he didn't do that. Many clan members were drunk. But there were family elders watching from the sky. Since nothing happened, why not get drunk? Chen Xingzhen cleared his mind slightly and lay on the bed peacefully. As his breathing became steady, Chen Xingzhen slowly fell into sleep. Dad, you're here. In the dream, looking at Chen Changming in front of him, Chen Xingzhen said hello. However, he always felt that Chen Changming seemed a little worried today, which made Chen Xingzhen couldn't help but ask. Dad, what's wrong? Have I forgotten anything else in the clan recently? Chen Changming shook his head, pondered for a while, and then slowly said. Well, Xingzhen, you see, you are not young yet, but you are not married yet and you have no children. Dad is thinking about it, are you? After hearing this, Chen Xingzhen's drunkenness disappeared, and then he woke up from his dream. This made him feel even more at a loss than when he heard the natural blood spring was under the ancestral hall. Chen Xingzhen touched the non-existent sweat on his forehead and remembered what his father had just said in his dream. which made Chen Xingzhen couldn't help but smile bitterly. "Dad, I am old, and now I am the leader of the clan. How can I?" In the room, Chen Changming sighed after being ejected from his dream. In fact, he didn't think it mattered, it's just that he is a little older, but the body of the blood coagulation realm warrior is still there and can continue to shine. He simply considered Chen Xingzhen as a father, but seeing Chen Xingzhen's opposition, Chen Changming did not intend to continue persuading him. Regardless, although there are no direct descendants, there are many descendants in the clan, so there is no need to worry about the lack of members of the family. On the other side, Chen Tianshun was also wandering around a secret room with a sad look on his face. In the secret room, Chen Qingyu was in retreat, as a father, after seeing that many clan members were married today. He naturally thought of Chen Qingyu. What's more, Chen Qingyu is not young anymore. He will be 24 next year. At this age, according to the normal rhythm of Burial Mountain, he should be the father of several children now, but Chen Qingyu was not married yet, which made him feel a little worried. Could it be that this kid doesn't like girls? Chen Tianshun was a little anxious, but then he turned around and left. He planned to wait until Chen Qingyu came out of confinement before questioning him carefully. The next day, the family returned to normal. After sending away the village chiefs, the family began to operate normally, but now the family was much more lively, taking advantage of the winter. When they are not busy yet, the Chen family is also preparing to expand its territory a little or two, so as to avoid insufficient housing due to the increase in the number of clan members in the future. The snow is covered with snow and the family is prosperous. Time flies. And it's already the beginning of February. In a blink of an eye. The cold has not gone away, but the ice and snow on Mass Burial Mountain have slowly melted as the temperature rises. Among them, with the Chen family as the center, the surrounding ice and snow melted very quickly. In 2 months, the family has also undergone a lot of changes. During the winter expansion, the original family has doubled the size of the original family. Moreover, under the guidance of several elders, Chen Xingzhen built a new family in the family. After some planning, the family became more complete and more reasonable. In addition, there are many more women with slightly bulging bellies in the clan. They are pregnant with the hope of the new generation of the clan. With the sacred tree, there is no need to worry about the child dying prematurely. In 2 months, many tribesmen have learned the Taizu Changquan combat skill. Chen Qingmang was the first to learn the combat skill under the blood coagulation realm. This surprised many tribesmen. After all, Chen Qingmang's martial arts talent was not very good. It seems that Chen Qinghe was inspired by Chen Qingmang and also started Taizu Changquan on the second day, although the two cannot exert the power of this combat skill now. With the improvement of the realm and the increase of the blood and qi in the body, the rest is just a matter of time. As for the third tribe member who learned the combat skill, it was Chen Tianquan, who was in the late stage of the body tempering realm, but Chen Tianquan was quite ashamed of this. After all, he was the elder of the two, and he was in the late stage of the body tempering realm, but he didn't learn as fast as the 2 younger generations. But talent is something that has never been considered regardless of generation, and the progress of the younger generation of tribesmen has also accelerated the tempering of many middle-aged warriors in the tribe. It is impossible that the younger generation will surpass us in all aspects, right? The ice and snow gradually melted, and the tribe also made new arrangements. When the weather in the Burial Mountain warms up, the most important thing is to plant the first crop of rice and blood rice as soon as possible. This winter, the tribe has little food left, and the blood rice is gradually running out. While the first crop of blood rice in the new year has not yet been harvested, the tribe members cannot delay in tempering their bodies. Window_Tabula equals window_Tabula. Tabula.push, mode, thumbs, feed, 01, container, Tabula below article thumbnail. 300 by 250 foot, placement, below article thumbnail, 300 by 250, target_type, mix.